out in the black belt level. These are moves that you might see in an MMA match. Why am I going to teach these? They're kind of dirty. We've been talking about doing some sort of additional thing. So let's talk a minute. Let me get a let's see. How about Alex? So Alex is just going to come out here and just kind of stand like the medicine guy, right, inside your biology book. So we know that anytime we take an appendage and we twist it until it stops, that something locks, right? We twist it the other way to a certain point and it locks. If we bend this joint this way until it locks, these things are uncomfortable. If we lock the elbow, right, if we ultimately lock the shoulder, all of these things kind of happen. The neck is no different. So what our neck cranks ultimately is impinging on the spine. That makes it an innately dangerous technique. So, anybody that's under 50 years old, you're going to want to play with this. Us 50-year-old folks are probably going to be like, be gentle, be careful. You're going to be like, oh, I just want to try this. And next thing you know, the guy's going to the chiropractor because you twisted his neck. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So, if we kind of think about that same premise, the head only moves but so far in this direction and that direction. Once we get to a certain point, if we go beyond that, we start to impinge on the neck. The head only goes down but so far. His chin doesn't even really touch. If it goes down beyond that, it becomes uncomfortable. Likewise, his head only goes back but so far. So you got forward, backward, and then also side to side, but then twisting in this way. If you do anything to the neck that ultimately goes beyond his normal range of motion, what do you think? All right. We're going to talk about the guillotine first. So Alex and I are going to be kind of in a standing position. We're kind of be looking for some sort of technique, and I yank him down, and I'm thinking, ooh, I'm going to go for guillotine, which is a choke. Does that make sense? And if I can get this and I can crank on, I should get a good tap out. But sometimes he'll take the head and try to get his head turned so that I can't choke him. So he gets in this position, and he tucks his chin and kind of turns this way. It's hard for me to get my hand in there. Does that make sense? All right, so this first technique, I'm gonna pull him down, right? I go for guillotine, he starts to tuck, and I'm gonna put my forearm across his cheek. Does that make sense? Now he's still gonna be holding on to me, and I'm gonna hold and I'm gonna pin, and I'm gonna grind on his cheek a little bit, then I'm gonna turn until the neck stops, and then I'm gonna arch. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
You feel how uncomfortable that is on the neck? You don't look happy.
That's not nice.
All right. So, go. If I'm able to get guillotine, let's get guillotine, right? Let's get that hand underneath the neck properly, right? Let's cinch it up the best way that we can, and let's, make guillotine. Guillotine's a good choke. But again, he tucks his chin under, and I still have the head. And again, this goes across his jaw or his cheek line, and then I got to pin this to my body. Now, he's going to put both hands on my shoulders and try to pull his head out. And if he can do that, he escapes. So this is a fairly snug, I pinch, I turn so that the neck is now bent, and I bend the head this way. There's less mobility in the head. So I've got his chin kind of so that, and I start bending up. Now he can't pull out easily. Go ahead and start pulling out because of the bend in the neck, right? And as I torque here and lift up, it affects the neck in a very uncomfortable way. You can do this from the standing position. Go ahead and give that a try. Be gentle. First one, I like mostly standing up. I'll show you the way that I was actually taught it is you're going to put this knuckle in the cheek, which turns the face. So again, I grab Mr. Fountain, and I get here, this knuckle goes in his cheek, right? So I'm going to grind it right into his cheek, okay? Which helps me to turn that head. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Once
sir.
you get the head turned, then I crank until the neck maxes out. I can feel he's tight. And then I arch my back and I make this way. Now, if I try to go like this and I drop down into the guard, I might seriously injure him. So I'm not going to advise you guys to drop into the guard. Now, Joel wants to ultimately try to get me to be pulled forward. He's going to pull on my shoulder. He's going to pull me in the down position. He's going to use his hand to push the elbow off. And he's going to lose an ear, but he's going to get his head out, right? When I say you lose an ear, it pulls hard on that one ear, whatever I'm holding. That's kind of a simple escape, okay? Let's kind of keep that in mind. All right, let's talk about the next move. Joel's gonna be on the ground, all right? And you can do this move from a lot of different ways. I like it I start this move out similarly. from the top of the mount. But I started out, instead of going for what would ultimately be a guillotine, I want to tuck my elbow underneath here, pin this arm up. I want to tuck this elbow underneath, and I want to grab this arm. Now, once I get to this position, I sit back, and then I rock up. And this is a crucifix, okay? So again, I'm maxing the head out this way. Does that make sense? All right. Stand up. Let me get somebody small. Okay, Caitlin. So here's the thing, somebody that's a little bit more flexible. She goes to shoot in for single leg, right? And I get here and I hook one arm, okay? Then I pull this one to my body and I rotate her over and I land in it. Does that make sense? That make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you can do that from a single leg position or from the mount. You can start there. We'll talk about some other positions in a minute. Who needs to see it again? All right. Hands on the ground. This is where I'd like you to start, by the way. By the way, you go to do the single leg one, you roll them over and you fall on them and you collapse the head, you've injured them significantly. Let's be careful. I may be thinking I'm going for this move. I put my elbow here, right? And I control this, and then I start doing this. I hook this arm and get my palm flat on the ground, and then I walk myself out this way until I crank the neck back. Good?
Yeah.
Crucifix. Everybody got any idea why we call it crucifix?
Because it's like you're on a cross.
Like step like this. Get a friend and work the ground crucifix. One who's on a lot to escape. He's gonna be on the bottom. He's gonna have me in the impossible guard that I just can't break, right? Like, I can't break. I tried big swim. I couldn't get big swim to work, right? I tried stacking them up. The trick to this one is don't try to use your hands because he's way stronger than, my hands aren't strong enough. I can't just curl him in. So what am I gonna do is I'm gonna use my feet. Hands here, posture. I start pushing up the body with my feet. Like I'm gonna stack him up. Elbows are on his chest, cradle the head, put my chin on it, I pin this. Now watch, I let go, and then I start pulling my knees towards his butt, okay? When I do that, essentially, I'm gonna go here and do this. I'm trying to make that space small. All right, somebody's gonna do this, and you guys are gonna know it doesn't work immediately. You're gonna be like, all right. All right, you're gonna be like, ah! And you're gonna like, Curtis, it doesn't work. All in my legs until I get the lock. Once I get the lock, my elbows and everything can hold position. So I move up the body with my feet, stack, grab, rock. Now once I get here, I drive the elbows down and pull with my knees. Usually the legs will open up because he's gonna be in an uncomfortable position. If the legs don't unlock, you got it. The legs do unlock, well, you can just pass guard, which is a beautiful thing. Cradle, neck crank. Cradle, neck crank. How you crank? All right. So, spin around for me. There you go, right there. So from the side control position, okay, I want to try to get control of his head. I got a head, and I got a shoulder, and I'm pinning his hips, right? And I've got good control here. This one is the hand that's going to do all the manipulating. This one is the lever. I'm going to move in, make gable grip. Stick my elbow in the solar plexus. That's right there. Right? I'm going to kick out, and I'm going to lift up, and I'm going to drop all my weight on the solar plexus and crank the neck up. So again, I'm here, right? Gable grip, elbow in the solar plexus. Turn and crank this way. Now my elbow is not nearly in the right place. It's better here. This is a lot more painful. I'm driving that right there, and it's close to my body. Gives me a lot of, he's having difficulty breathing. I'm not even cranking him, right? And then it's right there. Okay, I try to fold his head towards his belly button. I'm not lifting the head up, I'm cranking the neck down. That's the move. Does it make sense?
Yes, sir.
Side neck crank. This is one that I have tapped out more people than any other neck crank. This is my fave. Right? Get a guy, and he's happy staying in your guard, and you've been trying to get arm bar, and he's, you know, messing with you, and you can't get the arm bar. You try to get Kimura lock, and you can't get the Kimura lock. You're thinking to yourself, maybe a choke, and his posture's real good. So here's what I do. I clear the arms. I pull him in real close with my legs, right? So I want him high if I can. If I get him down and he's low, it doesn't work. I want him high. See, I pulled him all the way up. His chin should be right over my shoulder. All right, so we're here. Clear, and it's fast. Clear pull, and I get this position, right? Ear to ear, like I'm gonna do a rear naked choke. Grab, I lock. Now, I got him, and he can feel that a little bit, right, Joel?
Sure.
But this is the technique. Watch my feet. You dead?
No.
All right, give me somebody else. If you think that the technique is in the arms, it's not. It's in the legs. My legs are way more powerful, right? By the way, he's a hair taller. That works good for me. If he's a short person, you got to shove him way up high, right? Clear, pull, lock, squeeze. Now again, Rick can tell that I've got him. That's not going to tap him. It's this. Big difference? You guys see how my legs are stretching the neck? So I pinch the neck this way, and then I stretch it. Remember, we pinned the neck this way, turned it, and we got the first neck crank. This one is neck's all the way back, and then I stretched that neck. If he tucks his chin, and I just get the top of the head, he'll escape. So you got to get that chin magically right over my shoulder. That's the lock. This is a smother. This is what we're looking for. If you can't get the chin up, it's not going to work. You're going to get tired. You might get a chin lock, which will be uncomfortable, but it's not going to be that bad. Questions? Give that a try, 2 times, and then